Beautiful. Now that I've decided to start recording, I'm gonna fill up my water.
Hydration is important because the human body is mostly made of water.
I wonder what that'll sound like. I'm now in a new era. I'm in my desk era. We're gonna have to say a very sad goodbye to that lovely chair and that lovely plant.
Time to say goodbye.
Thank you for your service. Unfortunately, they're now a thing of the past. I'd intended for this video to be out before Valentine's Day. Unfortunately, I am lazy. Did you know that about 2 million people get married every single year? That's like 1 million weddings and a hell of a lot more divorce. But over recent years, I feel like there's been a bit of a silent competition to see who can have the weirdest wedding possible. Some people getting married while they're skydiving, married underwater. And then there's the themed weddings. We got Star Wars weddings, Harry Potter weddings, Avatar, Minions, basically any major movie franchise. People are marrying robots, mannequins, theme park rides. Hell, some people are marrying themselves.
Self-marriage is about self-love, and it's saying that self-compassion and self-care is as important as romantic love.
And I think we're getting far away from what weddings are really supposed to be about. The union of two people, the ultimate commitment, a breeding ground for family dramas that will plague reunions for years to come. And so on a recent trip to my local charity shop, I stumbled upon a book that I think will help us get closer to what weddings are really supposed to be about. I'll do what makeup channels do. Wedding etiquette properly explained. Finally, someone's here to help. And it was a bargain too, only £1.50. This book was written by Vernon Heaton and published in 1986, so you know it's going to have some really sound advice, especially for the modern era. And while I was researching this book, I found out that the author of this book was born in 1908. And according to Google, he's 116 years old.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Now, I know it's probably more likely that he's dead and that no one's updated Google about it, but I think it's more fun to believe that he is 116, and if he is alive and he's watching this video, may I say, well done on the book. Also, while I was at the shop, sitting right next to it was another banger of a book. It looked like a gem. Wedding Speeches, a book of example speeches, and I believe it came out around the same time. It's got that same crusty brown paper, you know, like when you read a book in English and it's got these pages, you know that it's from a while ago. This one was written by a guy named Gordon Stretch. That sounds like that. What was that stretchy toy? It was in Walter Mitty.
Can you hear me, Major Tom?
The stretchy man, the stretchy toy man. But I'm going to have to save this one for another video, so if you want to see that, frickin' subscribe, hit the little bell notification so you're notified as soon as it uploads in 2 months. What better way to start reading a book than by going to the first page? This is where you'll find the contents page of the book, and immediately there was something that caught my eye. The first chapter of this book is called Can You Marry a Relation? The Legal Points.
Sweet home Alabama.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'll read you the introduction of the book first. The overwhelming majority of the population take the marriage vows at least once during their lifetime. In anticipation of that romantic event, most girls, during their impressionable teens, take a few starry-eyed peeps through the pages of the women's magazine and read avidly of marriages of well-known stars and public figures. The men, of course, pretend a lesser romance and express to all that will heed them, almost to the point of no return, their intention of evading the walk up the aisle. So straight away, we're setting up a really great generalization that women are just starry-eyed, impressionable daydreamers, and men want absolutely nothing to do with commitment. You might notice a bit of a general tone throughout the book of this is what women want, and that men seem to by and large hate their future wife. The 80s. I was born in the wrong generation. But the result is usually the same. Some registrar, somewhere, sometime, will link their name names in his register with those of their parents, and when that time comes, the man will willingly, or unwillingly, am I right, boys, fall into line with his future wife's incessant wishes that the wedding be solemnized with all the ancient tradition and ceremony that she will claim as her right. Yeah, just a really great tone to start a book about marriage on. The old ball and chain. This book is therefore designed to satisfy the bride's eager wish to know and so be able to follow the exact details of the formalities and the long-established customs expected of the wedding, and at least give the bridegroom some little insight into the legal requirements that must be met before the marriage can take place. We're just trying to satisfy the bride's wishes for all the ceremony and celebration, which, as we've established, the men want absolutely nothing to do with. But don't worry, boys, we've got a whole section about some legal requirements that you'll need to meet before you make this woman your property. Next page. He will be glad to know and very ready to point out to his bride-to-be that the legal requirements for a marriage are simple as long as each is free to marry the other and that they are both over 18 or have their parents' consent. Oh, that's cool then. As long as the parents are cool with it, I can marry a 12-year-old. Better get cracking on with him then. But almost always he will find it useless to point out to his bride that all the ancient trappings, religious services, and public receptions in the world will do nothing towards making the marriage more binding, either in law or in social acceptance. Man, she just won't get the hint, will she, fellas? But to whom can she turn for the details of the ceremonial or even prescribed protocol of the established order of the events of this great occasion? Her parents would seem an obvious source for information, of course, but their memories of their own wedding will be 20 or more years dim. Their friends? Are they absolutely sure? Why not within these pages? Why not indeed? Now the time has come for my favorite chapter of the book. Can you marry a relation? No. Well, okay, no. Let's see what the book says. And listen close because it gets very specific. A man may not marry his mother, daughter, father's mother, mother's mother, son's daughter, daughter's daughter, sister, father's daughter, brother, father's son, mother's son, husband's father, husband's son, mother's husband, daughter's husband, father's mother's husband, daughter's mother's husband. Did you get all that? Now, because of the assumption of the time period of this book, nowhere in those lists does it say that a man can't marry a man or a woman can't marry a woman. Good to know Vernon was such a progressive soul. This chapter also outlines just how close you can get to marrying your family. For example, you are allowed to marry your mother-in-law, which I find especially odd considering just how many mother-in-law jokes were made during this time period. Maybe it's like when you joke about something all the time because it's actually what you want to do. Now, the next couple of chapters are just about legal specifics. Although it does mention in two spots that a long-term engagement is undignified. I'm looking at you, Pam.
We've been engaged about 3 years.
I also love that in chapter 7, other arrangements you must make, there's a section that goes over who's responsible for what when planning the wedding. Broadly, the bridegroom's tasks cover the selection of his best man and ushers, his stag party, the purchase of the wedding ring, the planning and booking of everything in connection with the honeymoon, not forgetting the passports, traveller's checks and inoculations if needed, the car from the reception to the station or airport if they are to leave by train or air, attend to buying or hiring his own wedding clothes. That seems like a pretty short list. What do you reckon the bride's responsible for? Would you be surprised if I told you she's responsible for everything else? The bride's list is much more complicated. She must decide whether she wants to be married in a church or a register office and then complete the arrangements for the wedding service. If it is to be a church wedding, then she will have to organize the order of service, the music, and the church decorations, select her chief bridesmaid, the bridesmaids, and perhaps pages and chooses their dresses, make out the guest list, organize the reception, where to hold it, the menu, the wines, organize the wedding cake, order the flowers, bouquets, buttonholes, and corsages, order the wedding cards to the church and to the reception afterwards, choose the invitations, have them printed and sent out, arrange press announcements. Press announcements? Are we celebrities? It just got leaked to the press. We're getting married. TMZ's got their hands on our wedding announcement. What are we gonna do?
Best thing to do is call a press conference.
Book the photographer, arrange for the display of their wedding presents. In addition to all of that, she will also have to buy, hire, or make her wedding gown and all that goes with it, her trousseau, I hope I said that right, her going away outfit, and her luggage. Cool. What was the guy's responsibilities again? Select his best man, organize a stag party, purchase the wedding ring. Yeah, that seems fair. Ow, bro. My hand is cramping up from holding this book. Shows you how much I read. Now that we've evenly delegated the tasks for everyone, it's time for the fun part, the stag party. Boys. Yeah. Stag party, yeah, bro. For those not educated enough, let's just refresh our minds what a stag party actually is. A stag party is usually an informal affair held in the local pub, a hotel, a restaurant, or even in a nightclub. But wherever possible, a private room should be taken so that the other guests will not be inconvenienced by the noise that is almost certain to arise. Yeah, when me and the boys get together, it gets pretty rowdy. I love this next sentence as well. Of course, the number of guests invited to the party will be related to the number of bachelor friends the bridegroom can claim. Wait, you're telling me that the number of people I can invite to the party will be based on the number of people I know to invite? Yeah. Of course, there will be no ladies among the guests. Damn right, this is a boys' zone only. You're a girl. Please move along. There's no room for any hens in this cockhouse, boy. Bros before girls. After the meal, only 2 speeches are called for, though many others may follow according to the humor and inventiveness of the guests. Sometimes no speeches are made, but the best man or bridegroom will set the ball rolling by telling a naughty story or two, inviting others to contribute their stories thereafter. You think that story's naughty? One time a girl touched my butt. Anyway, the book continues. The first of the speeches, if any, should come from the best man, who can expect to speak humorously and perhaps mock Bro, see, here's the thing with old books. They've got these made-up words in them. What the hell is that word? Mock lugubriously, or whatever, it's on the screen, who can expect to speak humorously and perhaps mock
lugubriously
of the fond farewell they must make to yet another deserter from the happy ranks of the unattached males, another bachelor who has succumbed to the feminine wiles and who is about to embark upon the stormy seas of matrimony, a man who was once a man but who is now to be shackled to a washing machine and a woman's apron strings. Oh boy. That has aged like milk. The bridegroom responds with an equally farcical farewell to his bachelor friends whom he is glad to abandon because of their shockingly selfish way of life. A bunch of reprobates, boozers, and ill-mannered oafs. Ill-mannered oafs? Imagine someone calling you an ill-mannered oaf. That one hurts. That one burns a little bit. Excuse me, I'm a very mannered oaf. Okay? Check your facts. How he is about to enjoy the salubrious company of salubrious. Again, made up words. Okay, well, all words are made up. Let's not kid ourselves here. How he is about to enjoy the salubrious company of somebody who will cook for him, warm his slippers, sew his buttons on, and wash the car for him. I can't wait for somebody to warm my slippers. Now, all this is fun and good, but you know what we're here for. Where's the entertainment at the stag party? You know what I mean? If there is to be entertainment, it should be confined to a single act, or perhaps a crosstalk comedian, a ventriloquist, or a pianist to lead them into a few songs. Hell yeah, I know my friends are gonna love watching a ventriloquist. Hell yeah, dude, chuck a little bit of Jeff Dunham on.
That's qualified as elder abuse.
I don't think they've left out the juiciest nugget for all the boys out there. Provided the bride is not likely to be upset to hear about it, a female entertainer may be engaged. Oh, yes, boys. Hell yeah, boys. We're about to engage a female entertainer. I'm going to engage that female entertainer so hard. If only the old bride back home wouldn't get so strung up about having another woman's boobies all over me. Grow up. Anyway, the boys have had their fun, so we'll turn to the hen party section. Where is it? It doesn't seem like there is one. I guess she doesn't need to have a party then. Well, I mean, she'll be having so much fun organizing the entire wedding. She's got her hands too full anyway. The next couple chapters just go into specifics about who sits where and, you know, the whole ceremony of everything. Now, after all this, we of course have the reception where everyone gets to give their speeches, starting with the bride's father, who should, quote, make his speech with one eye on the clock and one eye on the face of his guests. Like a chameleon? And then it's the best man's turn, who, quote, then responds on behalf of the young ladies, because because ain't no way we're letting a woman speak at this wedding. You know, this wedding that she's organized essentially by herself. His speech should be light and as far as possible filled with humor. From this point, there should be no return to emotional references or serious topics. Exactly, you can't get too sappy about your boys. Oh, gruff, men. He might refer to the bridegroom's luck into getting the bride he has and how many other men has wept over her poor choice. The difficulty in getting a scared bridegroom to the altar. Yeah, that's a great idea. Tell the bride how badly he didn't want to get married to her. No, but seriously, congrats on getting hitched, man. I honestly didn't think we were going to make it, to be honest. I mean, seriously, you did not want to get married. Kicking and screaming, I do believe. It wasn't until we put you in that straitjacket that you even agreed to come to the wedding. Remember when you said to me, oh, I'm making the biggest mistake of my life. I don't even love her. I just married her because her dad's rich and, you know, that'll make me rich one day. Do you remember when you said that? That was so funny when you told me how much you didn't want to marry this girl and how she doesn't make you happy and how you feel like you're lying to yourself by continuing this relationship. Remember when you said that? This guy, am I right? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, no, it's great. It's good stuff. Really good. And there's also a little section about the wedding cake that has a funny line in it. The bridegroom places a hand over his wife's and slowly and carefully helps her to force the point of the blade down into the heart of the cake and then draw the blade forwards and downwards. Are we slaying a dragon? Why is it worded like that? It's like I'm reading Game of Thrones.
I forced the blade into the heart of the beast, slaying it once and for all.
I also didn't know about this fun little detail. It's traditional for bridesmaids to keep their slices of cake and to place them under their pillows that night, in the belief that they will then dream of their own future husbands. Yeah, you heard that right. Sleeping with a piece of cake. Not the cake napkin or maybe even the fork that you ate the cake with. No, the slice of cake itself. Is that real? Sleeping with the cake under your pillow? Like, I don't know about you guys, but I move a lot in my sleep. It's like when you wear your headphones at night and then one ends up on the other side of the house. That cake is going to end up on the walls, on the ceiling, in the next room. Just make sure you catch the flowers. Don't put a piece of cake under your pillow. We then have a guide on the food that you could serve at the reception. This is of course done by the bride or the bride's mother. For instance, if the bride's mother wanted to give a finger buffet, she could serve any of the following: vol au vents, sausage rolls, curry puffs, individual quiches, fried chicken drumsticks, cheese and pineapple on cocktail sticks, sausages on sticks, thin strips of fried fish served with a dip. You talking about fish fingers, bro? You serving fish fingers at a wedding? There are some other great suggestions in here. Cold sliced ham, tongue, beef or turkey served with salads. Yeah, give me some of that cold sliced tongue. At long last, it's finally time to send our lovely couple on their honeymoon. Here's a good note to end on as well. When the bride is ready, no further time should be wasted in which emotional scenes may arise. The occasion should therefore be kept joyful and a mother's inevitable tears kept from sight. So mum's not allowed to cry? Like not even a little bit? Only after the newlyweds have finally departed for their honeymoon should the guests begin to leave, saying their final goodbyes to the host, the hostess, the bride's mother and father, until only they and the best man remain behind to clear up the paraphernalia of presents, clothes, wedding cake, and the odds and ends that will surely be forgotten by their owners. And that's where it ends. Wedding Etiquette properly explained. Can't wait to never read that book again. It's such a fascinating little book, man. I just love how far we've come as a society from this kind of like antiquated thinking. Things do not need to be this structured. Love who you want, marry however you want. Have that Star Wars wedding. If you want to dress up like minions, do that. Definitely stick around for part 2 where we dive a little further into this book. Thank you so much for watching. I hope somebody who watches this gets married, and if they do get married, that they get married to a theme park ride that they really like, or maybe they marry a mannequin that they find really sexy. Maybe you could marry a piece of fruit. If I was going to marry a fruit, I would probably marry grapes. I've never had a grape that I didn't enjoy. I could marry myself. You know, I've heard that that's really empowering to do. Can you marry animals? I don't think you're allowed to marry animals. You can Google that if you want.
Am yavaşta garkana ita